Thank you.
Okay, I've started. All right, let's see if I can share my screen with everyone. Can you see my screen? Yes, I think you can.
Yes, thank you.
Great. So yes, thank you very much for the presentation. And this webinar is dedicated to data management planning. And we will be focusing on how ARGOS, the OpenAIRE and EUDAT collaborative tool, helps people and researchers comply with Horizon 2020 requirements through this tool, so the tool that we've developed. And start. And this is, as I said, this tool is developed between OpenAIRE and EUDAT, two different projects support open science and data management and research data management in Europe. This is an outline of my presentation. I will go through, first I will quickly go through why we need a management plan. So what does that mean in the Horizon 2020 projects, and then quickly run through the main functionalities and components of ARGOS, so that you are more aware of how it looks like. And then I will quickly I will demonstrate you how ARGOS works in practice, how you can write your data management plans, and you can add additional dataset descriptions to data management plans that you've already created. All right, so first about the research data management plans in practice. I think you are already aware of that. Research data were first introduced in the Horizon 2020 as pilot, and quickly became a reality. Quickly became a default mechanism. So now the EC requires data management plans for Horizon 2020 projects. Quickly the research data management has been also included in respective recommendations and directives of the EC, and also it's one of the main issues that the European Open Science Cloud is trying to deal with. So these are some of the elements that you see. The data management plan tries to describe all the steps that are included in the research data lifecycle, how we collect or how we produce our own data sets from either raw data that we want to describe and analyze, or other data that we've collected from different surveys or different research efforts. And then we have to explain how we have processed those data, how we have cleaned them up, and how we've analyzed them, what tools have been used in order to do this. Finally, where we store this data, where the data will be stored, and then how we will provide access to them. Some of them may not be so easy to be openly accessible, so we have to have specific restrictions tied to them. Sorry about that. I think it's my outlook. And yes, so basically, what we want to be mindful of what we are doing throughout the process of managing our data, from collection to where we store them and how we give access to them, so that other people know how they can reuse it. Reusability and reproducibility is behind it. It's the whole purpose of our university data management plan. So what is a data management plan? It's in Horizon 2020, it's a deliverable and a living document, meaning that we can go back and always add new things or correct things that we've added before, following exactly the practices that following the evolution of how our data sets and how we manage our data goes. What is not a data management plan? It's not a research assessment method. So be aware that they won't use this to assess your research. They just want to see how you've handled your data in the project. And so about the types of data that the data management plan covers is scientific data and metadata mostly that are required in order to validate the conclusions that we've added to research papers that we've published. But also other raw or structured data and metadata are encouraged to be deposited in repositories so that other people that might, in order to support interdisciplinary research, other people may find some of the datasets that we've used during our project useful, hence why this is encouraged. So what? Sorry, I have to do this. This data that we will add to the data management plan should not infringe copyright. It should be. We should be mindful and careful of the intellectual property rights that are tied to these data sets. So clear any ownerships and very much pay attention to the licenses that are attached to them, data sets. And in terms of non-personal or sensitive content, there are some specific. We should state that in the data management plan that we will produce personal or sensitive content data, and these data should have access restrictions to them, specific access restrictions. For example, we should see what is the best process to use for this content. It might be anonymization of those data, but in terms of it depends, or it might be that we just store these data sets in a different compartment, in a different system that is not connected to the internet, for example. This depends from the research and the data that we have. And when the data management plan is delivered, it's encouraged at the proposal stage, when we submit our proposal, but it's officially it's a deliverable. So you will have to deliver the data management plan in month 6, so the first semester, and continue updating it and revising its content until the end of the project. So we're involved in DMPs, everyone is involved. All research and academic stakeholders, funders, because they define the rules for the data management plans, similarly to organizations, and project managers and coordinators that have to comply to these requirements, data managers that have to describe and manage the DMPs, and researchers that also know about the kinds of data that they produce and analyze, and they will be attributed by the datasets. So this is how the data management plan looks like in Horizon 2020. We will go through that in a minute in ARGOS. We will see that, so I'll skip it. And here, let's see how ARGOS can help with that, how ARGOS can help with the data management planning process and what it is. So, ARGOS is a steps from actionable data management planning, meaning that it's not just a questionnaire that we have to fill in. It is connected to OpenAIRE, the open access infrastructure for research in Europe, and supports information contextualization and supports different research entities to be created so that we have a better view of our research and how it's developed. Currently, it's in a beta version, very soon to be in the production. ARGOS also applies global standards like the Research Data Alliance Common Standard for Data Management Plans. I won't go through that. And this, we're doing it so that we don't diverge practices and that we know that we are compatible and that you as researchers and research project coordinators will be able to use it in the future and have no issues in terms of interoperability. The basic concepts that you will find in ARGOS is the data management plans. So you can create data management plans. These data management plans have different dataset descriptions. So essentially the templates that funders or organizations require us to comply with. These are the dataset descriptions, and you can export them. You have different versioning. We support versioning mechanism for different versions, and you can export them in different various forms. You will find also the dataset description, which, as I said, is a set of rules that have to do with the requirements of the funders of the organizations that we have to submit the data management plan. And for administrators, people that create the data management plans can be also administrators and can manipulate the template. So add new questions to them, or handle how specific rules in terms of behavioral rules are displayed. So, for example, you can the admins, the user that will become the admin will have the right to state if it's a mandatory or an essential question. There you will also find projects and grants. These are there are lists that we aggregate from OpenAIRE and from Cordis for projects and grants that are affiliated with them, so that you allocate the DMP to them, and then there are different users. I won't go through the secondary entities. You will find repositories, datasets. We will see them in practice in a minute. And a few more key features is that we have we support a full DMP workflow, and very important for us is collaboration, so that all researchers, not only one researcher, but all of you can collaborate through this DMP. So you have different rights, and yes, someone can be allocated a data description to work on separately on them. We also have authentication that follows the EOSC rules, the EOSC recommendations. We integrate lots of different providers and sources in there too. You can import and export your data management in human and machine readable forms. You can find it, the tool is available via the web. We'll speak in a minute. It's a free and open source, of course, tool, and we support versioning, cloning, and publication of your data management plans, so that you can also cite them through Zenodo. Some of the roles that the users can have in ARGOS is admins. As I said, that you can, if you're an admin, you can prepare and configure the system based on your own requirements. If you're a DMP manager, DMP managers are the DMP owners. So these are the people that first create the data management plan. All the others are collaborators. So the first one that creates the data management plan is the manager, and has the right to also finalize the data management plan and publish it. Whereas the other are the collaborators and the dataset managers that can describe the datasets according to specific rules and attributes. And of course, the system presents the DMP roles. And how this looks like in terms of DMP lifecycle is that, as you can see from your left, we create the DMP, so we have a status, if it's draft, cancelled or validated. Then if it's validated, it becomes draft. Again, that can be cancelled or validated. And we can then finalize it. We can save and finalize it. Finalized DMPs cannot be edited, so we have to be careful before we finalize them. We can save them, of course, but if we save and finalize them, then we won't be able to edit them. We have to create new versions in order to be able to edit upon that. And then we can issue DOIs to finalize DMPs and publish them in Zenodo. These are done in Zenodo. As you know, Zenodo is the repository, the OpenAIRE and CERN repository, so hence it is the system that we use for publication. And a walk through Argos, so how it looks like. First of all, you can find it in 2 or 3 different places. So first, you can find it in the OpenAIRE service catalog, so you can access it from the service catalog or by typing argos.openaire.eu. But it's also included in the European Open Science Cloud catalog and marketplace, so you can also find it from there. This is how it looks like. At the moment, we are trying to we are currently changing the banners, so and other features that are less relevant for you now. This is how it looks like, the homepage without logging in. So as you can see, these are the features that we have without logging in. You can see the number of data management plans, the number of data sets, grants, and related organizations, and that are included in the platform, in the tool. But these numbers change when you log in, because when you log in, this homepage becomes your dashboard. So you will find here your data management plans, your data descriptions, and your grants. So these numbers will change to show your activity in this dashboard. Then we have on your left, you will find some general features. The homepage. You can always click on home and return to the homepage. The about page that has a few things explaining how what Argos is. Then we have some the published DMPs and the published dataset descriptions. These are the DMPs and dataset descriptions that people have openly made available for other people to just take a look and browse and consult. When you log in, you don't need to have, we don't require you to have a specific account, Argos account. You can log in through Google, some social media accounts, and through ORCID, the EUDAT to access and OpenAIRE AI systems. This is your dashboard, and the recent activity. Once you log in, we will see that in a minute through the live demo, during the live demo, and this shows exactly what are the DMPs that we've been working on lately. And as you see, the name of the DMP, the template that we used in this DMP, the grant that's associated with it, the role that we have in this DMP, the organization that is responsible for that, for the DMP creation, the status, is it finalized, published, draft, and when it was last when it was last edited. This is very important. There are 2 ways to create data management plans or dataset descriptions in Argos. And I don't see if you have questions. Let me see. Okay, if you have any questions, please add them to the chat, and then I can answer them. I just have to hide it for now, so that there are 2 ways to create data management plans or data descriptions. As I was saying, it's the wizard. This is the most easiest way to create the data management plan. It has 3 steps that you have to follow, and provides guidance through the steps, including all the essential things that we need. And we have also the expert. The expert, we will need this in order to finalize our work, and has more steps than the wizard that we need to complete. So the DMPs, we can create them from the wizard, as I was saying, but we can find the wizard we can find in our homepage. it looks like this. And from my DMPs, looking like this. First step, I mentioned that there are 3 steps in creating a data management planning with the wizard. So first step, if we click, we are redirected to this page, the page that requires us to say what is the DMP associated with, which funder is the DMP associated with. So you can type, for example, if you type European Commission, you will find it. Then we have the second, here in the middle, we have the grant that the DMP is associated with. So we can find Neanias there. I'll show that in a minute, and the project that is associated with. And second, we are redirected to the data management profile. So this is where we have to state which template we want to use. There are different templates from different funders and different communities at the moment in ARGOS. So you see Horizon 2020, Clarence D, we see this Science Europe, Academy of Finland, and others that they're not displayed here. And we can add more than one dataset templates if we are required. For example, if we are we work in a big project that has multiple funding, an international project, for example, and we want to describe our datasets with 2 or 3 different dataset descriptions in order to comply with all the funders, and we can add more than one dataset templates here. And third step, as soon as we select what is the template that we want, we see exactly the information that is behind this template. So you see here we selected Horizon 2020, so you see that we have 4 main sections: the data summary, the data summary. It looks like this, have some questions that requires to be filled in. We have the FAIR data section that we have some on-off questions and that we can answer in terms of metadata, what types of metadata we use to create. We use to describe the data set and so on. Data security and other. And once we do that, we can save it. And if I click save, then you will be seeing this box asking us if we would like to add another dataset descriptions, because maybe we have more datasets that we want to describe in one go. So depending on that, we answer that. And when we save it, then immediately this record appears in our dashboard. So under my DMPs, I find this record. It has all the information, like the name of the grant, the name of the DMP, who is the owner, and how many data descriptions it has, templates associated with it, and how many researchers are collaborating. And I can then finalize it, clicking that icon, that button. And that's how we finalize the saved DMP. Then if I want to save and finalize it, so I select save and finalize, I can see this box appears. And again, has basic information for the DMP that I want to finalize, the dataset descriptions that are associated with it, and it also has a warning that it says that if I save it and if I finalize it, I won't be able to edit it. So, as I said, be mindful of that. And once I save it and finalize it, this is what I see under my dashboard. If I go to my DMPs, this is what I see. The name again of the project, of the DMP, the grant associated with it, if I'm the owner, the collaborators, how many people are collaborating, etc. And then I see 3 different patterns. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Here you can see 3 different buttons. So you have the possibility, once it's finalized, to export it in different formats, PDF, doc, XML, and JSON, and publish it. If you are going to, if you click on publish, this box appears saying that the names of the people that are involved in the DMP will be publicly visible. So you have to have consent with these people that are involved in DMP, so that they know that their name will be appeared in the publication after. And then you can also get a DOI, clicking on get the DOI, so that you have a persistent identifier for your data management plan. And you can create data management plans from the expert menu. You can find it in the home page. It looks like this, and from my DMPs, it looks like this. It's the same approach, but different. You have different interface. The same steps, the same things we have to follow here as well. You enter the title, the description. You select the dataset description template that you want. You can select more than one, as we said. Then you type the organization that you are affiliated with, and you find researchers here that you can add. This we are now integrating ORCID, so you will be also able to search by ORCID or from first name and last name. To add contributors to your DMP. And as you can see, the next step is to, similarly to the wizard, as we've done that, and next step is to showcase, to let them know, and to let the tool know which is the funder. So we allocate funders, grants, and the project that our DMP is prepared for. And then we have again the same functionality to save our DMP. And add dataset descriptions. I will show that to you in a minute. I won't go through that. And this was about DMPs. So for dataset descriptions, say that we have a DMP that we've created, and we are working on a project, and we have a new dataset that we want to describe. So in order to add this new dataset description, we can do it through the wizard, which looks like this on the home page. And then from the wizard, there are 2 steps to add new dataset descriptions. You just have to click on pick an existing DMP. So you select the DMP that you want to include this dataset in, and then you click on the next, and you see the dataset description information. So the questions that are included in the template, in the dataset description template. We fill that in, and then we save and finalize our work as showcased before. Second way to create a dataset description is through the expert, and it looks like this, this button from my dataset descriptions. Again, same things but different interface for your work. So you click on DMP to select the DMP that your dataset is associated with. You select the name of the dataset description so that it has a unique name, and you will be able to recognize it throughout the data management planning process. Here you select the DMP. Then you describe it. Then here you describe the new feature that we have in datasets, dataset descriptions expert, in the expert mode, is that you can also have external references. You can request sources to be be aggregated and described from external resources. And again, describe the dataset following the template. And now I want to quickly go through and show you this in real time. So do you have any questions until now? Okay, let's see. When you finalize a DMP, you cannot edit it. What if you have to make a minor modification? You have to write all the fields from the beginning, or there's a way to recall the information you have used before? So good question, Dimitra. So when you finalize a DMP, you cannot edit it. You will, if you want to edit it, it will go to a new version. So you have version 1. It will have all the information that you've previously added, and you can do any minor or major modification as you want. But it will be a new version. But that's not an issue, though. That's something that. Do you think it's an issue for you?
Hello, thank you for your presentation. No, I was wondering if I have to start from the beginning. So that was my question. But
No,
if I can keep the information and just make a new version, it's okay. It's no waste of time, I mean, so it's okay for me.
Oh, okay. Great. No, you don't have to start from scratch. Let me then go through the live demo now. So as you can see, here is the platform. Let me also type it here so you can, if you want, we can do it together here. You can find it here. As I explained in my presentation, this is how it looks like. Without logging in, I can see how many published, openly published and openly shared data management plans are in the system at the moment. And there are some filters here to refine my search, how many are active, inactive, what's the related grant, etc. And same for the published dataset descriptions. There's a glossary, there is also an FAQ for you to browse, and terms of service, it will be up next week. So let's see, if I log in, let's say I want to log in with Google, for example. So my Gmail will be under my profile. Here's my profile. I can see what are the DMPs that I've created or I'm collaborating. I can see all of them if I click here. And I can also select some settings to be displayed if I want. So this is the homepage now is my dashboard. So here you can see different numbers. So for me, I have created 10 data management plans and 9 dataset descriptions, and 7 organizations are associated with them, and etc. Here are the statistics. Here I can see exactly the latest activity. So what I've been doing lately. In terms of DMPs, I can click, for example, what I want, and I can edit it. I can continue my work. So this is the two ways that I've mentioned: the wizard for creating a data management plan and for describing my new datasets. So let's say that I want to now create a data management plan. I click here and I want to find a funder. So here the list comes from Cordis and OpenAIRE. So let's say that I want to find the European Commission, for example, since it's a European project. And I will have to state the grant. So I will type the name of the project that is granted for that, Neanias, for example. I have a novel EOSC. So I have the full name as it's included in the proposal in Cordis, and the grant number here. If I don't find a funder, or if I don't find a grant, let's say, for example, that I'm doing this for a proposal, so it's not a project yet, what I want to send to create the DMP for, it's just a proposal, and I don't have a fund, I don't have a grant, then I can always add a grant, or I can add a funder if I don't find it in the list. So this is always there. And then project, this is Neanias project, so I go next. And the second step shows exactly the title that I can, the title of my DMP that I can change, for example, call it Neanias. I can have a summary of my project. And here I can select exactly the templates that I want to describe my datasets with. You see the lists that we have. Currently we have Horizon 2020, two that are RDA and EOSC, which are community-based, the Science Europe one, and all the funders that are in Plan S. And we are always updating it and including more, even national funders if we have, for example, Academy of Film. So let me select Horizon 2020, since it's a Horizon 2020 project, and click Next. So here I can see what I have to fill in, the template that the funder, the European Commission requires. This is the data summary. Let's say that what is the purpose? The first question is, what is the purpose of the data collection? Let's say that I answer it. This is not a legit answer. I'm just brainstorming here. Then let's say that I want to, that I'm under the FAIR section, I want to fill in the FAIR questions. So it asks me, will you use metadata to describe the data? Yes, of course I will use it. And then if you see, this section appears, and it aggregates content from providers that we have in Argos. So I can choose from all of this, I can choose the one with the data standard that is going to be used for my description. So let's say, for example, that I want dataset, the data schema. And I can always add other. Next question is, will your metadata use standardized vocabularies? And again, there is a whole list that I can use. Depending on the reasons that I'm doing, if it's discipline specific. I have some things here, for example, say that I want agricultural. Yes, select that one. Will you make the metadata available for your charts? Yes. And so on. So this continues. So we have some questions that you can immediately select from the list that we aggregate that we have from content providers there, and there are some that are just open-ended. This is it. This is for the FAIR. This is the whole FAIR questions. And then from data security, again, this question it has some predefined answers, which you can always, if you want, you can always. Oops. Oh, okay. These predefined answers you can always change if you export it in doc. So if I want, let's say that. Let's say that I want to save it. And I don't want to add another data set. So here I will see it here. This is the latest activity for me. So I will find it here in my dashboard, and also under my DMPs. it will be that one, the first one. So I have two different spaces where I can find it. Let's say that I want to finalize it. So I click on the DMP that I just created. I can see that I'm the owner. I can see that there's one dataset description describing this dataset, this dataset, one template associated with it, and here I can. This is the dataset, so I can click on it and continue adding new things to the dataset description. Example, save, and then I can finalize it from here. So if I click finalize it, you see I'm not able to, if I click, I'm not able to edit it yet anymore. So these are disabled. Yes, I can undo finalization from this interface. And let's say that, yes, this is what I want to show you. We can edit it, as I said. We can export it. Let's say that I want to export it in document. And I want to open it and structure it in a different way, maybe. So here are the answers that I provided. And let's say that I want to, I don't want that, so I want to change it. Let's do that, save it. And this is how it looks like. And finalize it. So now this, under my activity, this becomes finalized. The status changed. And if I want to add, do we have that? Yes, we have that. And if I want to add a new dataset description, this is the wizard. I can click on it. Let's say that I want to add one new dataset description for the same data management plan. So I pick this data management plan, and I describe immediately. I describe the dataset description. This is the whole concept. I won't go through them. Save and finalize, yes. And here, as you see, I have two different two datasets. If I want people to join me in writing the data management plan, I can invite them from here. These are some trials that I did before. So let's say this. I can always send the invitation by adding the name. Here is the versioning of our DMP. And under my datasets, you can find the datasets. These two that we just created, 1, 2. These are the latest that we created. Do you have any questions? I wanted to end it because I want to discuss a few things. I want to know what datasets, for example, you are going to collect and analyze. Do you have surveys? that was for me. Sorry, that was for me for the demo. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I would like to discuss with you what types of data sets you will collect or reproduce. Eleni?
Hello, it was muted, sorry. Thank you very much for a very explainable and very detailed presentation. I think there are more questions to come in the very near future. Do you have any manual or explanatory guidelines in order to be more familiar with the ARGOS?
Yes, we actually have, we haven't pushed it to the beta version yet. We have it in the development version, so you will be able very soon on Monday, I think, to have also to consult this user guide.
Okay, thank you. Because I am sure that there are more questions to come from various places, from Neanias and other projects and other organizations. So I think we'll be in touch.
Okay.
And we'll be in close cooperation in order to give us more information in the near future.
Okay. So can I have a question? Are you going to have any survey, any landscape review that you will be doing, sharing questionnaires? This is the most common for the EOSC 5B project. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, regarding questionnaires, we are in the process of collecting the requirements of the thematic services we are going to provide to EOSC at this period of the time. So we are preparing in a very robust format the various questionnaires of the 3 thematic areas from space, underwater, and climate and atmosphere.
Okay. So where are you going to send this to?
When we finalize the whole template and the type of the questionnaire, we're going to be in contact with the EOSC, but now we're in a very early stage in our project.
But okay, so my point is that you already have
not in a mature situation in order to provide a robust type of questionnaire up to now.
No, okay, but no, what I want to say is that you already have one data set that you can add to your data management plan. So this is the data set of the questionnaire of the data collected with the questionnaire.
Okay, yeah. We just collecting the questions now of the questionnaire regarding the thematic areas. So we are not very ready up to now.
No, okay, it's all right. Okay, any other questions?
We will be in contact, in a very close contact with ARGOS first, and then for the following steps for EOSC incorporation.
Okay, all right. I look forward to further discussing things with you. See how things progress.
Thank you very much. We are going to upload your presentation, and we have to renew our appointment for the very near future.
Hey, I have a question. Is there time for a question? Hi, Eleni.
Hello.
The name of the speaker, what is your name?
The name of the speaker is Eli Papadopoulou. Eli, I think
okay, I think we met in Athens. Ellie. My name is Eva Sciacca. I work at Neanias project, and we are working on a DMP for the space datasets of Neanias for the space thematic services. So I've been trying to work on the ARGOS platform, and I noticed some bugs. Is there an official channel to contact if we have some problems in saving the? Okay, so is it mentioned in the portal?
Yes, yes. Let me skip some slides. Let me share my screen again. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what I did, you can always contact support. Click on contact support from here on the left.
Okay.
You can write us, but you can if you want to see me, you can drop me an email and I will make sure that your request is.
Okay, but as far as I understood, you will replace this version in the next week?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because I have my draft, this will be saved in the new version?
Yes, yes, yes. Nothing will change, yes.
Okay, so maybe I will wait for the next weeks and I will try the things that were not working in the next release. And in case, we'll contact you and contact support.
Yes, yes, I'm happy to see with you what's the issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
So Eva, you're going to be the intermediate supporter for Argos for the other thematic services too.
Yes, okay. Ellie, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Ellie, for your presentation, your support, and we renew our appointment for the near future for the other thematic services or in Neanias in total.
Okay, good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Paul. Thank you very much for participation.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.